Hello everyone, it's Howard here with the second one in my casual philosophy video series. This time I want to look at a passage from Nietzsche that is about beauty and aesthetics, but I want to interpret it a little bit more widely to both things that we consider beautiful, but also things that we want, and how it's not always so straightforward as getting what we want and being able to enjoy or appreciate it. So the passage I want to look at is in the description for this video, just down below. So I'll give you a moment to go and give that a look-see over. Moment's over. Alright, so what do we think about this? There's a lot of stuff going on here. The first thing I want to do is apologize for how gendered it is. Fortunately, he is a product of his time, and even though I think there are some interesting points to be made here, we can just choose to discard that as part of this, if you so choose to do so. Considering the genderedness isn't a part of the point that I want to make. So where do I want to start with this then? I think that the interesting idea to start with here is that we have many more beautiful things than we have beautiful moments. Because that's very interesting. Because a very naive idea would be saying, well, if you have a beautiful thing, and you're by that thing, then therefore you should have a beautiful moment. You should have as many moments as there are things or people going to see the thing, something like that. But Nietzsche is denying this. It's almost like saying that you can have a quarter that is a quarter, and that's always its value, but sometimes you can't use it as worth 25 cents. Seems to be something like this. Well, one way of tackling this is let's think about some of the things that we consider beautiful or that we want or desire, as I want to think about. So, you can consider a conversation with a stranger beautiful, a piece of art, time spent reflecting and meditating, a wonderful experience with friends or family, sex, something that is wonderful for all of us. There are all these things that we consider beautiful and that we want and desire, but you have to want those things. You have to desire them. It's not enough if you have a beautiful painting that's in front of you, but you're not in the mood to be looking at paintings. You're in the mood to be running or sitting on your couch or doing something else. So just because something is appealing or desirable doesn't mean that you're going to be in the right frame of mind or place to want to value that at that time. And aside from not wanting, you can't do it with tired or closed eyes either. We all have our distractions, we all have our life. You have to be in a certain particular mood or moment where you are ready to take in the beauty that something has to offer you. And interestingly, when something is beautiful, we tend to assume that we want to keep it. We want to keep possession of it. You want to buy books that you enjoy, pieces of art that you like to look at. You desire a partner who embodies all the beautiful things that you want in your life. You want to keep them around. But as all of us know, things tend to come and go in life, or even if you have something that is beautiful, these beautiful objects or a beautiful person in your life whose presence you enjoy, there are still times when you don't find it beautiful or you don't enjoy it. Just the sheer fact of its being what it is isn't enough to create the moment, to create the feelings that we think should be associated with it. So Nietzsche has a little bit to say about this here in this passage. Let me just find that not only do we have to stand in precisely the right spot to see this, but the unveiling must have been accomplished by our own soul, because it needed some external expression and parable, as if it were a matter of having something to hold on to and retain control of itself. So that's quite a mouthful there. But the main point that I take from this is that even when there's something beautiful, we have to want to reach out to it. We have to want to grasp it. It isn't just the fact of its being there and then wham, bam, done, thank you. We have to be involved in that moment. So another point here, which I find very interesting, is how he says that the most beautiful of things only show themselves once. What? What on earth does that mean? I mean, when you share shows with people, or you go to a place, go out to a bar, or go traveling, you're sharing in a moment with other people. What does this mean about revealing itself only once? That sounds ludicrous. Well, there is a quote that I thought of immediately by another philosopher after I read this, and that is an ancient Greek philosopher named Heraclitus. So I'll put it in the description as well, but I will read it nonetheless. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he, she, is not the same man. I think this is the idea that Nietzsche was trying to get across, which is that every beautiful moment is something unique. Not only does the object of our affection have to be ready itself to be viewed, to be shared, to be displayed, which has its own process of becoming and unfolding, but we ourselves have to be ready to take it in. We have to be ready to take it in when it is ready to show itself. And that confluence of factors of both that thing and us, all taken together, creates a unique moment that happens once and then never happens again. Taking the Heraclitus quote, it's like trying to be the exact same person and stepping in the exact same part of a river, which can never happen. You're always later in time, you're always different than who you were before, and the river itself is always flowing, it's always going by. It is never the same as that time in which you stepped into it. So, as a general point, when it comes to us about seeking and desiring beautiful things, we have to remember that it's not just about acquiring, it's not just about being there, it's not just the sheer presence of something that is good, but it's about what we put into it, and it's also about that thing being ready for us as well. It's this complicated tango or dance of us being ready to go the exact moment that it is as well, and both of those things coming together on both sides, which, you know, is complicated, and it's a lot of work. And there's nothing to be ashamed of to say sometimes that you weren't ready for those moments, or when something that you wanted or desired wasn't ready for you either. Sometimes we can get a little bit bent out of shape when our plans go awry, our relationship ends, or some other one of those things that we desire or want doesn't turn out the way we want to. But if we think about it in this way, first of all, those things come and go once only, and maybe if you do have a recurring thing with one beautiful object, each of those moments are still separate, and every time you have to put in the effort to make it beautiful again, to keep it as beautiful as you remembered at those other times, which may be similar, but will now be its own thing. But just in general, that it is completely acceptable as well to have some moments come, run their course, be significant and beautiful for us, and then to just let it pass away and let it go by us. There's nothing wrong with it, and that is how some things in our lives will work. So that was my idea for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave me some comments below if you think I could articulate or explain some of these things better. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Ciao.